morning, Ellen
You're
Brown.
all bright. You're all bright, and I'm all dark. I should probably turn on a
Well,
light.
I'm
It's kind of
sitting in a
backlighting.
hotel room, and there's actually a light on the desk that is illuminating my face in a way that I'm like, whew. It may be a little too much.
I think it looks really nice, and the hair, like, it's a whole thing. So, but I took, I'm very proud of myself. I went for a mountain bike ride this morning and set my day. Here I am, and I actually had time to not have a hat on. So there you go.
I love it.
Okay, so welcome to Unprocessed and Unfiltered. And Jashira Nicole says good morning, so say good morning back. So this is 30 minutes with us where we talk about the difference between avoiding bad decisions when it comes to food and unhealthy things, and really focusing on how do you make truly nutrient dense ones, because there's a big difference, and our sort of the information around food tends to not be particularly transparent when it comes to the real health value and nutrient density of food. So there you go. Oh, she's glad she caught this live. This is great. I love it. I love the interaction with everybody.
I don't get to see it. I don't have the chat.
It's sad, isn't it? Carter feels the same way. Just if it's any consolation, he has a certain level of, I think, disappointment that he also does not get to see the chat. So it brings me great joy. But anyways. So how are you?
I'm good. I'm in New Orleans at a conference, and already last night it was beneficial. It's the Transparency RX conference. So really looking at the PBM space, and they're not using dietitians.
Oh, there you go. So, and I spent the weekend. So what are you doing there? Like what is your...
Yeah. So I'm speaking tomorrow on a panel about GLP-1s and how nutrition needs to be implemented with GLP-1s.
Oh, thank you. Right?
Yep.
This is like the biggest issue.
Yes.
And I spent the weekend at Disney. So,
really?
Yes. People are like, I do not understand. Like, I've had 3 people now say to me, why would you go to Disney without children when you and your husband could just get away? The important piece to that is that we had tickets that were expiring. We also live 2.5 hours from Disney. I grew up near Disney. I can navigate Disney like no other. So we threw down a goal. So I'm now in my 50s. It's my husband's birthday today too, by the way. And we threw down an objective a throwback to my teen years when I would go to Disney. Now this was before there was Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom. So we're like 2 parks, but there was this like goal of, could you go to all the theme parks in a day? Mm-hmm. That was like a thing. So my husband and I decided on Saturday morning, after I hadn't slept much all week trying to get that Maha Elevate grant in, that we would do all 4 parks on Saturday. So we got up here, left here at 7:30 in the morning, drove the 2.5 hours, started Animal Kingdom. I have to give a shout out to Nick at Animal Kingdom and Guest Relations, who basically made like the best day ever. Anyways, then we ran over to Hollywood Studios, then Epcot, and then we ended the day at Magic Kingdom. We had so much fun. So anyways, but all that to say, it was really sad for me because, the statistic is that only 6.8% of the population is in optimal metabolic health. And walking around Disney just broke my heart because it makes you realize what that looks like real time. So it was like my husband and I had this sort of like thing where I was like, I'm going to count how many people because I'm a big on health span. It's like, I'm going to count how many people over the age of 70 I think are legitimately in good metabolic health and not beat up, like they're mobile, they're fit. And I have to tell you, Kelly, I think maybe I saw one, maybe out of 4 theme parks. I mean, we put in 22,000 steps, over 22,000 steps the first day and 17,000 steps the second day. And it just, now the number of drink around the world at Epcot shirts that I saw.
Come on in. We have room service coming, Ellen.
Okay.
Come on in.
Oh, so we get to hear what we're going to have for breakfast.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's, I'm kind of on this kick right now about my husband. So Kelly, I think this really leads us into what we were going to talk about this week. Last week we were really heavy on AI, And I think we can still do that. I think it'll be fun every week if I sort of use Claude and show people what that looks like, and how you can use it for nutrition. But what I really saw at Disney was we want to talk about mental health this week. And I think what my husband and I talked about a lot was when you are in that type of metabolic disarray, right? And you have that level of metabolic syndrome and you're chronically inflamed, you're over, you've got a lot of extra pounds on you. You don't feel good. And so we were kind of talking about, because he said to me, because it was his birthday, he said, now that I'm turning 56, he said, I think unless something happens to me, I think I'm going to stay fit. Like I think I'm at a point in my life where like, I'm not going to fall off the wagon. And this is so important. He said, because I know how good it makes me feel. I know how good I feel as a result of it. And we then started talking about the fact that when you are not metabolically healthy, so when you are dysregulated metabolically and hormonally, you don't feel good. So like that's a whole flip, right? It's one thing to feel fine. It's another thing to feel good. And it's another thing to feel bad. And so let's talk about the impact that food itself has on mental health, how you feel, how you, just everything about it. And I think there's two triggers to that. There's one, how you physically feel, which then leads to mental. But then there's also the implications to your brain, because there is a blood-brain barrier, a gut-brain barrier that gets compromised, that those glucose spikes actually do go to your brain. It starts to impact your brain vascularly. Like unfortunately, we don't, as a country, as a society, as a culture, whatever we want to say, we don't share this information. We don't talk about it. So, and like Liz Pierce just said, I totally agree with you, Liz. I suspect many people have never known what it feels like to feel good.
Feel good.
I mean, I have somebody that lives in my house who doesn't know what it feels like to feel good anymore because they're in such poor metabolic health. And I have to watch that every day, So anyways,
it's tough. No, it's tough. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're like right in May right now, right? So this is our number one talk throughout the year is nutrition as it relates to mental health. So I actually was in Orlando doing this talk to the International Foundation people.
Not over the weekend, because if you were there over the weekend, it would have very much upset me.
I know, it's been funny. So like a month ago, and I got to walk all around Epcot. But basically, this talk is so great because it really does teach people to understand how the body works. So just yesterday, I'm at this other conference here in New Orleans. So we're up on the rooftop and we're talking all about, different foods and this and that. And one guy goes, well, my son's a carnivore. And I looked at him and he looks at me and the other girl's standing there and she's like, you have to eat fiber. And so this is where understanding like what's going on with the body and how it all works. It's pretty cool. We're getting major feedback, Ellen.
What's that?
There's like major feedback. Like
it's my air conditioner.
Oh yeah.
Don't really know how to turn that off. I'm not in my office because my daughter's home from school for the couple of days. Anyways, I'm not really sure. Okay. I can try and do something here. Let's try and do this. Maybe if I turn the gain down or turn it. Is that any better or is that worse?
Yeah. No, it went away. We're good.
Oh, okay. All right. So I do have to tell you that unfortunately we have people that are trying to join our event, and we are going to have to, technically, we got to get Meg involved because I just realized she's got to go in and, I'll text her. She's got to actually turn it on. Like I put the keys in, but she has to actually go in and like start the event. Anyways, keep going. Sorry. We're trying to get on LinkedIn as well. I'll text her. You go, Kelly.
No, it's okay. So I think this is like all technologies, right? And we can talk about this too. So we talk about mental health. We're being bombarded all day, every day by all these different messages and this and that. So it's just interesting, but you can really change things over with healthy food choices. And we do know that fruits and vegetables and things like that do actually help to reduce inflammation and therefore create more serotonin and help us to be healthier. So
Interesting. So, well, and so we walked around. So in Epcot, there's and how is that? Is it just the receptors? And I mean, I guess to some extent, this gets back into like why GLP-1s, um, why the receptor, like, again, that's a receptor piece. Like, that's how GLP-1s work.
GLP-1s are really interesting, but that's where when you eat fiber-rich sources, you naturally can create your own GLP-1.
Right.
So
Right.
honestly, Ellen, most people don't know that we make these hormones in our body.
So let's go back to the mental health piece and talk more about the exact hormones that help mental health. And then,
Sure.
and I guess also what are the foods that tend to, and then let's also talk about the foods that bring us down the other way. So there's foods
Okay.
that,
Sure.
right, there's foods that are boosters, and then there's foods that are actually like fake boosters, and then they bring us down the other way. Let's talk a little bit about what, not so much, you could talk about the foods, but like the mechanics of it a bit, because I'm a geek.
Okay. So basically what happens is our bodies need to make these things called neurotransmitters. And these neurotransmitters are things like serotonin. And this is where we get into that it's not just one thing. You need to have proteins, amino acids, and you also need to have fiber-rich sources coming from carbohydrates to make these neurotransmitters. It's not just one thing. So when we eat food, so that's where, again, going back to like how we need to have this combination. So when we bring in these different foods into our diet, it goes into our digestive tracts. We're breaking it down. So we're breaking it down, the protein to amino acids. We're breaking down those fiber-rich sources. That gut microbiome breaks it down even further for us, creating our gut microbiome and keeping like the mucosa layer. So that's where, like they say, 70% of our immune system is located there. So then from that moment, this is where they can actually start to make these different neurotransmitters, and 90 to 95% of it is made in your gut, and then it's transferring back up to the brain. So that's where if you're not feeding your gut bacteria what they need to survive, they're not going to be able to send out and make those neurotransmitters to make us happy. So it was like 15 years ago, I went to a conference out in Chicago, top psychiatrists, and they had done research on changing the nutrition for anxiety, depression, all of it. They were able to get people medications doing that.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it happens, right? I mean, we know this.
Yes.
We absolutely know this. So, okay, so let's talk about different foods. Let's talk about like what. So
okay.
talk about pick a food.
Plate. Let's talk about what's on my plate. So we have.
Do we get to see your plate?
You can see my plate. We have the
plate.
incredible.
Kelly, anybody who just got in, Kelly just ordered room service, so this is fun.
Yes. So the incredible edible egg. Let's talk about that, because the egg got demonized for a long time.
Yeah. So just to be clear, I'm terrified still. I have a very bifurcated. I have a dual relationship with the egg. So like I'm constantly seeing like eat the egg, eat the whole egg, eat the whole egg. But then I freak out because. So this is very interesting. And this may be a little too complex for 15 minutes, but maybe not. I want to throw this out there. Is you talked about this. Is it's not about just eating the egg. It's about what's in the egg and then what you eat the egg with. And then also, here's the other really interesting thing. So from Claude's perspective, like I'm worried about my my ApoB, not so much my cholesterol, but my ApoB. And Claude has come back to me and said, you know, because I said that I kind of went in and okay, let me back up. I did this omega-3, omega-6 blood test. I think I talked about this last time. And it came back and I said, now I feel like I'm going to have to become a salmon. Like I'm just going to have to eat salmon all the time. Like I'm just going to start swimming. Like I think I'm going to write a Substack piece that says Ellen becomes a salmon. And like, first of all, I don't like salmon. I'm learning to love salmon. Like we went and had crepes on Sunday morning, because I love crepes and I never eat them, but we had crepes and I got a side of smoked salmon, which I think is gross and slimy, but I got it and I ate it because I knew that my body would handle that meal completely differently than if I just ate the crepe. So throw all this together, right? Because I think I
Okay.
know I'm jumping all around, but I think it helps people understand, like,
Okay.
in a very real
No,
world
but
setting.
you were right. So by adding that in, you're adding protein, you're adding your omega-6s, those healthy fats. And so this is where fat gets super confusing, is fat. So there was a researcher back in the 1970s who's a cardiologist, and he saw that fat relates to heart disease. But he didn't know all the details. He didn't know about omega-3s. He didn't know about how the liver works with cholesterol. He didn't know anything. He just kind of like blanketly put that out there. So that's
Interesting.
where all foods that had cholesterol got demonized. So like shrimp, your eggs, those types of foods got like, no, like don't eat those. Well, what we now know is that no, that's not true. There is cholesterol in eggs, yes. But if your body is in, like you're talking about, good metabolic state, your liver actually will make less cholesterol. It signals the liver to make less. However, if you don't get enough cholesterol, guess what happens? Your body will make more. So, what is the number one way we find out if someone's anorexic? The number one test? They have high cholesterol. Did you know that?
Well, so I'm not surprised by that. I did not know that, but I am not surprised by that because this gets back into sort of this hormonal thing, which I'm going to bring up in a minute. But let's keep going on this. So, talk about the difference. So, then how about a whole egg versus egg whites?
Okay, so the whole egg, so egg white is just protein. The whole egg, the inside of the egg, and that's why nature is so cool, is that this egg is loaded with soluble vitamins. It has vitamin E, it has vitamin A, and it also has vitamin D, one of the only sources of vitamin D that you can get in food besides like mushrooms and whatever. So it has vitamin D in it. Plus, it does have a fat source, so it can absorb the fat soluble vitamins. How cool is that, right? So the fat source is there to absorb the fat soluble vitamins. Then you also have B vitamins, you have choline, you have all these different nutrients and vitamins locked in there, and also you have iodine. These are like a perfect combination when we talk about quality of foods. The amount of nutrients that's in an egg will blow your mind, and it will help to replenish the body. It'll help us to make those neurotransmitters, and it will help with all of our bone health. Like, it literally does so much in the body.
Interesting. So, okay. So I'm going to ask now, how about balancing? Let's talk a little bit about what's it called when there's like a name for this, but you have to eat food together. It's like
Yeah. So
like
that's
a
why we
mapping of food.
also pair the strawberry and the whole grain with the egg. So this is where that partnership that comes together with fiber protein. So these things come together because when we eat protein with fiber, and with our carbohydrates, it neutralizes and it stabilizes that blood sugar level. So we're not going to get those huge spikes in glucose. This feeds the gut bacteria. This also has our vitamin C, powerful antioxidant. This also helps absorb the iron in the foods as well. So the iron that we're getting in from the bread, all these things are working in this symbiotic chemical relationship to help absorb each other and help to get into the body.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up. I feel like we're not talking about. Let's just talk about this anyways. Well, let's just keep going down this chain. We can go back to the mental health piece.
Well, I think with the mental health piece, though, this is where understanding inflammation, and when we eat foods like this, reduces inflammation, which also makes you feel better. When your body is inflamed and sending out tons of messages that we're not doing well, that's where we need to make sure we're getting foods that actually trigger us to feel good, like a strawberry.
Yes, 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 yes.
Mm.
So, all right. So this is interesting. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here because I think it's fun because I've worked so hard to load all of my health data into Claude in a project that it's fun to be able to tap into it. I just want to be clear with everybody. Like, if you are watching this and you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll try and, do the same thing with my health data. Like I'll go into Claude later and start asking it questions. I think it's really important everybody understand, like, first of all, this is Claude and not ChatGPT. So big, big difference when it comes to healthcare data. So like that is hugely important. Secondly, anything with AI, always remember it's all about the context that it has. So if you haven't shared a lot of data with Claude, if you haven't put your health records in, if you aren't using it, if you're not giving it good prompts, if you haven't really explained the context of you, right? Just like going to anybody, your friend, your doctor, your anybody, if you don't give them the context, they aren't going to be able to help you. So I just want to be clear that I'm tapping into something that I've spent many hours now over the course of the year building to try to really help me understand my health. I mean, I started having this like meltdown today on my bike ride back that, and I'm probably going to write a piece on it, which is like, because my Achilles heel is sleep and working too much. And I know that I should not do that, but I'm getting pulled from all angles between a mom with dementia and still having a kid at home, and then working like this, trying to pull off this whole system C, creating a new redesigned food and health system. It's just a lot, right? And I don't sleep enough. And so I started thinking this morning, am I actually pre-chronic? And my biomarkers are hiding it because we don't have a proper biometric panel for pre-chronic, for example, right? So I want to throw this out here to everybody that, like, I'm going to dive into Claude for like 2 or 3 minutes with you, Kelly, before we have to close out and kind of do a to-do. But this gives an example of this. So I just said, hey, I want to talk about mental health and my diet, right? Like I just want to understand, and I just wanted to probe it. But this is what I was getting at, right? Which is, so here, how your current diet may be affecting your mood, anxiety, cognition, or emotional resilience. And then it actually talks about the stuff that's going on, right? That I just sort of talked about. But then it talks about specific, do I want to jump into specific nutrients or foods I should add or remove for mental health support? So let's do that. Let's say I want to dive into number 2. And let's just see what it says. And then let's ask it about a couple of foods. Like, I think this is always fun. Maybe this becomes part of our shtick, Kelly. I was thinking this morning how impressive it is that we're on week 6 and it just was a phone call that you made to me.
I know.
Right? You just called me and said, this is what I want to manifest. And I was like, well, then let's start a show. And like, here we are 6 weeks in. So, which, by the way, while I'm waiting for this to load, just so you know, I am flying to California next Tuesday. I am speaking in 2 places next week, in 2 different places, and I will be on a plane. So I think Michaela should fill in for me.
Okay, because I have to be on a plane going to California the following.
Okay, so we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But
maybe Michaela will fill in since she's a nutrition person. She's a nutritionist. So like,
and we'll have Emily. We'll have it be someone fun so everyone can have like a little switch. But yes, we can definitely have.
Okay. All right. So this is what I was talking about. This is actually, I'm really glad I pulled this up. So this is high leverage place to focus, right? So I have this genetic mutation, which is the MTHFR, like fun, right? I don't even want to say it. Yep. But I basically have a methylation problem. And it has caused a number of health things. But here, this is really interesting. It's also the synthesis of serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, right? That's really important. And so at baseline, I make less of the neurotransmitters most associated with mood, motivation, focus, and stress resilience. So like, this is just a genetic reality for me, right? I have a clinical folate deficiency. Like this we know from something that I've had, that I've done, and it has to do with this genetic mutation. My B12 status, right? This is what we were talking about. My omega-3 index of 5%, which is insufficient, which is why I need to become a salmon, right? Because DHA makes up, you can read this, approximately 30% of my brain phospholipids. And EPA has direct antidepressant effects in meta-analyses with effect sizes comparable to SSRIs in some studies. And
Ellen, I'm going to be the person that dies of mercury poisoning. I am a salmon. Like I eat fish 24/7.
Well, but look, my ratio is deeply inflammatory and pro-anxiety physiologically, right? And
Yeah.
that was like a little finger prick test that I took to find that out. And then my hypothyroidism is currently, now I will say I'm getting on top of that. And then perimenopause, iron, ferritin, vitamin D, magnesium, inflammation. But my point is, like, look at all of this information and it still comes back to nutrition. It comes back to,
Because
I need to be eating in a manner to try and do a better job with this. Like, this is my fate. Oh, the breakfast. Somebody wants to see the breakfast.
the
Kelly.
breakfasts, we have strawberries, eggs, and we do have some fun because I am in the South. I got grits because I don't have grits up in Central New York. So that's where, and I do have a little bit of bacon. I am a dietitian that eats everything in combination, but fiber and protein will come first, and then a little bit of grits to make it fun.
All right. And so how much is a little bit of grits? Like, do you eat, like me? I would eat a couple spoons of that and call it good. But would you
Yeah, a
think?
couple of spoons. I mean, because I'll be full for 2 eggs, a piece of toast, and all that. I mean, that's a lot. And so that's where I
And
think
then how about
moderation.
toast? Would you go with whole wheat? Did they have some
Yeah,
sort of
go with
whole
whole
grain?
wheat. I have my whole grain toast here, and my husband's been obsessed with making sourdough. So I do love sourdough, but mixing it up a little bit sometimes is a good thing. He's
Yes.
obsessed. Like it's 24/7 sourdough happening in our house.
I don't know
Um,
how you're and you can still fit in your clothes because like that doesn't I even when it's like sourdough, it doesn't work for me.
I don't eat a lot of it. It's
Okay.
one of those things he always asks me every day, "Do you want sourdough?" And I'm like, "Not really." Like it's kind
So
of like
okay.
I really really do like variation. I'm not a person
Okay.
that eats the same food every day.
See, I can get into a fixation. So like I get into a routine and I want like I would if I when COVID happened, I got on a sourdough kick and I wanted a grilled cheese every day. So I
Yeah,
do have, although I do have fresh sourdough in the freezer that's like sliced and frozen that like I take out, but then it's not on the counter, like there's,
we do
anyways.
it too. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I really believe I truly like variation. I like different foods, yes.
Okay. So let's close this out with some action steps. So I'm going to give some data points for everybody. So we talked about, we bounce all around thanks to me. So that's my fault. I take full accountability. 95% of serotonin is produced in the gut. That's from an NIH study. So,
Yep.
and serotonin, reminder, Kelly, serotonin
Is a neurotransmitter, and you need to make sure you're having those proteins and fiber-rich sources to make that.
Yes, yes. Your gut microbiome communicates directly with the brain via the vagus nerve. These are things you guys should learn. Like this is something that everybody on this call should understand is the vagus nerve, the brain, the gut. These are not woo-woo things. This is science. This is how our body is designed. If you want to
Right.
get to optimal health, you got to understand that. That's how you get off the pharma chain, right? Magnesium deficiencies linked to depression and anxiety. I take magnesium every night before I go to bed. Omega-3s are shown to reduce symptoms of depression comparable to antidepressants in some studies. So we talked about the omega-3s, right? What is one thing somebody should try to increase omega-3 food-wise, Kelly?
Your fatty fish. So salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, sardines, those are great ways. But if you don't like those, seriously, this is where supplementation does come into play. Make sure you're getting a really good, high quality source. Krill are really small, so they're going to have less mercury. So make sure you get a good omega-3 source.
Okay. And so now you pick a food, a favorite food that people should try. Let's do a fermented food, and I'm going to go get mine.
Okay. And for everyone, while she gets that, truly, truly, eggs are such a fantastic source of nutrients. I cannot say enough about them. In the way of fermented foods, I don't have any fermented foods in front of me because I'm in a hotel room.
So
but we'll see what falls out.
Okay. So here are my two fermented foods. And just like I don't like salmon, I didn't like either of these foods, and I've grown to love them. So this is kimchi. This is my favorite that I brought back from the ranch. It is Molly Englehart from Sovereignty Ranch is this amazing chef, and this is her kimchi, and it is fan-friggin-tastic. But because you can't fly to Bandera to get to do that, this is another really good one.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Mother-in-law's Napa cabbage.
It's good.
Yeah.
So if I was at
No.
home, I would show you that we have the sourdough starters, we have the kimchi. It's all in my fridge.
I have
So
kombucha. I just picked one. I picked
when I'm
one kimchi.
home, I'll show you all the
Awesome.
containers.
Maybe
And
we'll do fermented foods next week. Maybe. Oh
yeah,
no,
and
because I'll be on a plane.
but I think he should teach us too. I think Greg should be on and really
Or maybe
show it.
Greg should be fill in for
He
me
should.
next week. That's
He
what
would
we
be
should do.
great.
So
Yeah.
your husband he will be the person. And then maybe the following week I'll get my husband and we'll talk about, like, he can like probe the questions with Emily. And
Yeah,
then Lori,
that'd be great.
yeah, and then Lori Kordovich just joined, which I have to give a shout out, Plant Strong Foods. If you didn't see the Substack this morning, you guys here, I'm actually going to throw in a code that gives you, anybody who joined, I'm going to throw in a code for 50% off an annual. Cause I'm feeling feisty this morning. I also want everybody to go out there and read the article that Rip Esselstyn wrote that we published this morning. And he is the founder of Plant Strong. And he is coming on the live stream with Carter and I on Friday afternoon at 1:30. So there you go. So next week, 9 a.m., Kelly Springer with her husband, they're going to talk fermented food. He's going to give a lesson on it.
We'll see.
I'm going to have to try to like tune in from the plane. I'll be like breaking the rules. But yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for another fun week of Unprocessed and Unfiltered.
Have a great week, everybody.
Right. Go to Kelly's Choice. Get yourself a registered dietitian. All right.
Yes, book us for nutrition talk. Bye, everybody.
Bye.